Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Pisces energy. And like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row is what we refer to as high vibe Pisces energy, and the bottom row is a more worldly, shadowy Pisces energy. Because we all have our dualistic nature, we have free will, we kind of got to battle and debate within ourselves and make decisions in life. And high vibe Pisces energy would be when we listen to our love and intuition to guide us, and the lessons that we've learned in life to keep having hope and faith and belief in love and in ourself and in our dreams, and being independent of things that can manipulate us. The worldly shadowy energy can represent our fears, our insecurities, our self-limiting beliefs, our more immature, indulgent nature. And then sometimes if we decide to move forward in life differently, we're not maybe going to be living our life the way we had been living life. We've healed, we've grown, we've matured in some way. And we're kind of not the same person maybe that we were before. And sometimes some of the people in our life won't like that. Some of the people we can keep being friends. It's just that we're going to pursue our dreams and they're living their dreams and they're not moving forward with us at the same time. We can all know all sorts of different people, but some people are willing to accept that we change over time, and some people don't like it when other people change over time. So anyway, we all tap into Pisces energy. So if you're someone who has hope and faith and belief in love, you might know some other people that are kind of caught up in the illusion of the world or themselves or whatever it is that manipulates them. So listen to where you're at in the story and where some other people in your life are at in the story. So the reason for the bottom rose reading is the enemy card. So that can represent our own shadow nature. And it can even be people that negative energy in the world or people in our life who really don't have our best interests at heart. The only card showing in the bottom row is photograph. It says the past, memories, the past, returning, past influences, familiarity, and nostalgia. We all repeat a pattern and a way of living life until we've learned the lesson we were meant to learn from that phase of life. Then we can go on to the next phase of life. And there's some people that maybe gave up hope and faith and belief in their dreams, don't want to do love because you can get hurt doing love. But some people, they have this way of living life, and that is probably what makes them feel safe and secure and comfortable, and they don't want to live life any differently. They don't want to step outside their comfort zone. And sometimes we can be in friendships or workplaces or relationships with people that refuse to change. Shadowy Pisces can be stubborn and prideful, trying to prove a point. And, if they have a way of living life, viewing life, acting in the world, they don't want to change. And until they could maybe see that they're at their own worst enemy by being, shadowy energy is also about being in your ego. You're more immature, indulgent, prideful, lazy, whatever type of nature. Some people, you have to see the truth about what manipulates you. And they might not want to see the truth about what manipulates them. Let's go look at these three cards. When cards aren't showing themselves in the bottom row, it can be that some people who are unwilling to change or unwilling to do love or quit making their life more about themselves or money or materialism or indulgence, I think they try to hide from people that they have probably had some loving, encouraging people in their life because they have their own loving, encouraging nature. And then we have people in our life who kind of represent that energy in the world, and they rejected that. And we have the free will to do that. I don't have to align with my loving, hopeful, believing nature. I can align with my more worldly, egoic, defensive, self-centered nature if I want. And they probably had some loving, encouraging people in their life who have left their life, but they don't want people in their life to know that those people were like high vibe. And they also try to hide from people that they do harness these energies in a more shadowy way, but they don't want people to know it. The snake, despair, and an ending. So the snake can be about deception, manipulation. Reminds me of the Seven of Swords, where some people do listen to their intuition and have hope and faith and belief in their dreams, and intuition is connected with Pisces energy. And they had some other people that had some of the same issues they have. We've all got our shadow nature. We've all got fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs and past pain and heartbreak. And we've had relationships that didn't work out the way we wanted. But other people looked at life from a higher perspective. So this says Scorpio, but Scorpio, I'm also viewing it as Aquarius energy. Scorpio can talk about, we all wanted these deep, meaningful relationships with people, these just and fair and balanced relationships with people. Sometimes that didn't work out that way. And we're sad, but high vibe people in their Aquarius energy are able to look at life from a higher perspective and put things in perspective and see how they could have contributed to those relationships not working out the way they worked out. Where did I need to heal and grow and mature myself? What past pain and heartbreak was still affecting me and the decisions I made in a relationship? Am I also willing to see the truth about the people I got in a relationship with? What issues did they have that they didn't maybe deal with, And it's kind of being able to mourn it, but other people put it in perspective. I realize there's some people in my life that I could have hurt. I take responsibility for that. I have to grow and heal and mature myself, and I need to put an end to acting in those immature, bossy, controlling, self-centered, whatever ways of being. High vibe people eventually work through these issues and they change. The ending card, of course, reminds me of Scorpio death card. They transform their life because they did look at life from a higher perspective to deal with the truth. And the truth set them free. Now they can have focus more on the happy memories in like the nostalgia in the past instead of, because they've kind of released the pain and heartbreak of it and kind of focus more on the happy memories that there were instead of the unhappy memories. And they kind of like freed themselves from the enemy and they were able to move forward in life differently. But we also have to see the truth. We can love people and those people are manipulated by their own issues. And maybe they don't work very cooperatively together with us in relationships. They could have been egotistical, self-centered, manipulative, superficial, shallow, controlling, intimidating, and could have tried to control us, but we can have a lot of inner conflict about it because we did love them. And that can be a problem. The snake card is saying Scorpio, and the ending card being like the coffin in tarot is Scorpio energy. And in our Scorpio nature, it is all about these complex feelings we have for people. I love them. I hate them. I don't ever want to talk to them. I hope they call me tomorrow. And it can also be this like black and white thinking that it can be really hard for people to be, things are either good or bad. And that's how some people were brought up. And, it's hard for them to reconcile the shades of gray. I can love them, but they were controlling. I can love them, have a lot of good memories with them, but they were superficial and shallow. Are we just willing to admit that we're dealing with other human beings who have their own fallibility and aren't perfect, and we can love them and wish they could have been different? But everybody has to learn lessons in life, and everybody has to free themselves from the things that manipulate them, or they keep repeating that old pattern. And some people get stuck in that pattern because they don't want to deal with their own truth. They don't want to deal with their own issues and see the truth about themselves. And they don't want to see the truth about people in their life and deal with their own past pain and heartbreak and see the truth about people in their life. We either keep repeating the same pattern or we free ourselves from it to not repeat that pattern, like generational curses. And I choose to be different. I could repeat this pattern, being defensive to love, not loving and believing in myself, because I dealt with people who were defensive to love and didn't love and believe in themselves. And then I can be hurtful or unkind or controlling or manipulative in the people I'm in relation, and the cycle goes on and on and on. Who are the people that are going to say, I am going to overcome my past pain and heartbreak, my fears, my insecurities? I'm not going to let my mind control my life. I'm not going to let my emotions control my life. Shadowy energy at the big picture is represented by the devil. High vibe energy represented by God at the big picture. And we live in a world of duality and we have free will. We have to battle with these things within ourselves. I am not going to, in the devil, these things that try to manipulate and control me and restrict me and oppress me and stop me from giving birth to my dreams and loving myself and believing in myself and being my authentic self in the world and loving and believing in myself and offering love and being open to love with others. I am not going to do it. Of course, it takes some life experience to get to that point. And I think the hardest lesson to learn is to love yourself and to free yourself from these things that manipulate you. To appreciate what you bring to the table. High vibe energy is about being independent. I have done the work to appreciate and grow and heal and mature myself, to keep moving forward in life, learning lessons, not repeating past patterns, and believing in myself and believing in my dreams and becoming a more enlightened, emotionally mature, balanced, loving person than I was before. And it all takes time. And there might be some people that, some people can just be narcissistic and full of themselves and, you know, they are deceptive and manipulative. I would think most people when they were children had hope and faith and belief in love, but they had issues that happened in their life that didn't work out the way they wanted, and it's kept them up in their head. If some of the very people that we thought were going to be loving and they weren't, that can be hard to overcome, and for some people it's worse than other people, so it's harder for them to overcome it. And some people don't want to see the truth. And sometimes we don't want to see the truth because then we would have to change our life. And the truth sets us free. We have to get out of our ego. We have to get out of our defensive nature. We have to quit trying to manipulate people or control people or deceive people about the truth. Up here we have the false person and the ship. We have to move away. You can look at the ship. It does say Aries energy, but it also reminds me of Pisces energy. We have to be willing to be bold and brave and confident enough in our Aries energy and in our fire energy to be inspired. I am not going to hide behind this false persona anymore. If I created an illusion about who I was, and I was kind of being deceptive and manipulative, and it caused a lot of regrets in relationships because I did have these fears or insecurities or ways of wanting to live life that I thought that was the just and fair way to live life, and I thought that's how we should live life. And in my Pisces energy, I wasn't really willing to see things from other people's perspectives. I could have been stubborn, and because of that, other people moved away, and if I want to move forward in life and I don't want to be stuck in an illusion, I have to be willing to speak the truth about, so high vibe energy is getting out of your ego, learning the lesson you're meant to learn from it. And when you learn the lesson you're meant to learn from it, there's no more shame about it. I had lessons to learn. I could have driven my life off into the ditch. I learned some valuable life lessons about it, and because it helped me, and sometimes we got to hit rock bottom to see the truth. Are we willing to admit I was a fallible human being who had lessons to learn, get out of my ego about it, and quit trying to convince people I wasn't bossy, I wasn't controlling, I wasn't immature, I wasn't all about myself, I wasn't materialistic. I wasn't addicted. Whatever it was. Are we willing to see the truth? But some people, again, have a hard time with that, and it could require them to look at life from a higher perspective. And maybe they lack perspective because they're so consumed with their status or their ego or their image or these things that they want to indulge in. And so then instead of dealing with the truth, they're kind of caught up in wanting to have a certain image in the world and people view them a certain way. I can't be a fallible human being who made mistakes. I have to try to confuse people about the truth of who I was, even though I might have done some things that caused some high vibe people who had hope and faith and belief in their dreams, because I am unwilling to deal with my own past pain and heartbreak and these things that manipulate me. A relationship could have ended and I could be sad about it, but I don't want to admit the truth of how I could have contributed to that, or how my past pain and heartbreak still triggers me to act in ways that aren't just and fair and loving. And I want to create this image of myself of being like this picture perfect person. A lie will follow you around forever. And some people had some healing and growing and maturing to do, and they don't want to deal with it. They could just be codependent. They could have other people, besides their own shadowy, egoic, worldly, immature, indulgent, whatever nature within them, that manipulates them. In turn, we have other people in our life that we're probably hanging out with that live their life a certain way. And if we view life a certain way, we're hanging out with other people who view life a certain way. And if those people don't want us to live our more authentic life and have more hope and faith and belief in our dreams, because then we won't hang out with them. We won't look to them as like a shining star in our life and make them the center of our universe. We can have other people, just like people we want to be in a relationship with, have other people in their life who don't really want their friends or their family members to really go live the life of their dreams. I lived my life making my life about these things of the world, or look what a wonderful, happy life I have. But it's more about conforming to the world and creating this illusion of how wonderful your life is. But it isn't, really maybe listening to your intuition. The reason for the high vibe energy is the direction card. It says, uncharted territories, aligning, new experiences, finding your way, inner compass, exploring, searching. That would be harnessing our fire energy of being more bold and brave and confident in the world, to live our authentic life, not make our life more about our ego and our fear and trying to conform to the world, and making our life more about looking like a shining star, making our life more about ego or image or status. We're bold and brave enough to do love and let love and intuition guide our life. And sometimes when people are in relationships with people who are more in that energy, those people can have people in their life who don't like it, and their own shadow nature doesn't like it, because either our more worldly, shadowy, egoic nature is driving our life, or our more loving, intuitive nature is driving our life, and one or the other is sitting in the back seat. It is about making choices. Do I go in my more hopeful, build my life on hope and faith and belief and love and growing and maturing myself? Or do I want to stay in denial, keep indulging myself in the world, or make my life more about money and materialism? And love, optional, or I get hurt doing love, so I don't want to do it anyway. And there's some people in the world that haven't freed themselves from being caught up in whatever manipulates them, and then they don't like other people living their authentic life. And then sometimes those people will even try to stop other people from moving forward in life to get the justice they deserve, because, well, I want you to stay in a relationship with me. If you are a loving, hopeful, believing person, yeah, I want you in my life. But I'm not that type of person. But I don't want you to go be with other people who are on the same energy as you are. And I might purposely do things secretly, kind of behind the scenes, not everybody knows about it, that are hurtful or unkind, emotionally shallow, superficial. Shadowy Scorpio can be people who are intimidating, controlling, act like a private detective in a relationship, or are narcissistic, or they're just emotionally shallow, superficial people. And it's more about these things of the world. And other people want more deep, meaningful relationships. And so some other people work through their mental confusion because they could have had love for these people. But I feel like I'm going to miss out on an opportunity to be in a more authentic, loving, maybe just and fair and open and giving and creative and inspired relationship, because you have all these things that manipulate you that you're not willing to deal with and see the truth of. So they keep manipulating you. And as long as those things keep you stuck, kind of with the devil, these things that oppress us and imprison us, I stay imprisoned with you. But those things don't manipulate me. They could have initially when we first got in the relationship. We all got lessons to learn. We can all want these things of the world in the false person. We're trying to find our way. We get in relationships with these different people to help us get clear about our truth. We go on a journey with people. The fish card is Pisces energy. We're trying to have hope and faith and belief and love, but sometimes some of the people in our life, we don't realize they can wear a false mask that, oh yeah, I'm willing to bring that dream into reality. Oh yeah, you know, I'm free. Nothing manipulates me anymore. Nothing from my past, not my past pain and heartbreak, not a past relationship that ended. I'm ready and I'm independent. I can move forward with you in a relationship and I have hope and faith and belief and love. But then you get in a relationship with them and the family room can kind of talk about things behind closed doors. And, well, let's see what it says. Private family matters, comfortable, matters kept secret, inner soul, intimacy, private discussion, retreat. And then we have the key card, which is Leo energy, answers, unlock, revelation, breakthrough. All of us, I think, have our intuition that we were given as a gift. Just like we were given our gifts of being an emotional, creative, inspired, imaginative, intelligent, passionate human beings. All those things were given to us as a gift. So we're not just like an animal or a computer. And we also were given the gift of intuition, like our sixth sense, when we can tell somebody, we feel like somebody is staring at us, and we look, and yep, lo and behold, there's some people huddled, seem to be pointing at you. Or knowing when people don't seem to have our best interest or we think people are being manipulative, even though they're smiling in our face, we really don't trust them. Just like bats have sonar and birds and butterflies know to fly to warmer climates in the winter. In alignment with going with the flow and being more tapped into our Pisces energy of connected in with our emotions and our intuition, more shadowy energy can be people who kind of keep their more emotional nature kind of underneath the surface, and they could tend to live more from their mind and their heart and their ego. Other people do listen to their intuition. And as time goes by, they want to deal with these things. And high vibe Leo energy, I want to free myself. We all at any given moment have some fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs, but it can become confusing and kind of overwhelming, and we could realize that the way we're dealing with it isn't in the best way. We could look to these things of the world that we go indulge in to make ourselves feel better. And then we learn that didn't really work out. And I just ended up in more of a pit. And, people don't want to keep repeating that pattern. But when people first could have gotten in a relationship, they all could have had these vices and ways of trying to bring their dream into reality, but hadn't quite seen the truth that it was about love, and could have even just been a more codependent energy. Let's get in a relationship to feel better. I have past pain and heartbreak, and I have fears and insecurities. Me too. And we could be attracted to each other in the Aries energy. And we, want to be in a relationship in the Pisces energy. And we get in the relationship. It's just that one person could do this work within themselves. They found the key to unlock their more authentic nature, and they work through these things to detach from some of the past pain and heartbreak and fears and insecurities. And so they're no longer the person they were, but the other person has this way of viewing life. And it could be, no, this is what it's supposed to look like. Like, this is how my family was brought up, and this is how we did things. And I'm supposed to act like this, and you're supposed to act like this, and we're supposed to be like this in the world. And it's kind of not going with the flow and living their own more authentic life. But that does require us to be bold and brave and confident enough in our fire sign energy to listen to our own intuition and creativity. And some people had people in their life that could have really, either people in their life or their own kind of self-condemning, or you have to be perfect and conform to the world to make the most people in the world you think view you a certain way, that they don't do that. And they could have a very rigid way of thinking. They like to be in relationships, kind of like shadowy Pisces can be. I like to indulge myself in a relationship. It maybe makes me feel better. I might not be very loving to myself in the enemy card. I might be very harsh and critical and condemning of myself. And so I like to get in a relationship to feel better. But then when they're in a relationship, they never do this work within themselves to free themselves, because it does take work and effort to look at those things that manipulate us. And people have the free will choice. No, I've kind of put that in a box in the corner of my mind, and I don't deal with it. But it affects the decisions that they make and how they react in a relationship, because they still have that pain, that heartbreak, those fears, those insecurities that they really didn't free themselves from. And eventually other people have a lot of mental conflict staying in a relationship with them, because life is about learning lessons, learning to temper your fears and your insecurities, or being more about yourself, being egotistical and self-centered, thinking you can be hurtful and unkind and people will just want to keep viewing you a certain way, or like you're this picture perfect person or this loving person. You know, Pisces can be about being caught up in the illusion, and we can get in relationships with people. And it's kind of like we cast an invisible net of traits and characters and qualities and characteristics onto them, because we like to think that people are like ourselves. And sometimes we move forward with people and we're kind of attributing traits and characteristics to them and thinking they think like us when they don't. And then as time goes by, our intuition is kind of telling us that someone isn't who we thought they were. They really don't think like us. And they might be someone who doesn't look at life from a higher perspective, hasn't dealt with some past pain and heartbreak, hasn't dealt with, kind of can live in fantasy land in the fact that, can't I just wear my false mask like I'm this loving, nurturing, stable, grounded, just fair, emotionally mature person with you and out in the world, but that's really not authentically the truth of who I am, but I try to keep that part of me like hidden? Well, other people listen to their intuition, and it's kind of like, I don't feel like you're being authentic with me in Leo energy. I don't feel like you really let your more hopeful, believing, loving nature out to play in the world. And I could kind of feel like I'm in a relationship with your ego nature, your cardboard cutout false person. And if I'm being authentic and loving and vulnerable, I want to be in relationships with other people who are in that energy. And for some people, it's just that I never planned to live my life that way. I thought I could wear this false mask, and I thought if I did this work to make it look like it looks really victorious and successful in the world, that even when you could kind of look at the key and Leo energy in high vibes about being illuminated to the truth, that they could have thought you're the answer. And that's how some people also view relationships. Instead of them, maybe their vice to feel better isn't like drugs or alcohol and stuff like that. No, I get in a relationship. You're the answer to my problems. You're supposed to be loving and nurturing and encouraging and supportive of me. And then my life is better. I'm not in my harsh, critical inner voice or whatever, you know? But they're in that type of environment, but they refuse and reject doing this work within themselves. Other people and the people they were in relationship with, when they were in a loving and encouraging and supportive environment, because these people can be loving and encouraging and supportive, it just doesn't ever, you start to see kind of the chinks in the armor, and they're not kind of releasing any of their baggage. And so things become stagnant and stale and like dead, because they're not like healing and growing and maturing themselves and releasing some more immature ways of being, like we did age 15 going to age 18, age 21 to age 25. They keep thinking, I can just wear this false mask, but a false mask will only take you so far. How do you fake even going to the next level? Some people have like perfected a level. They do have a certain status or image or success, or the way they grew up. They know how to function in those ways, and we work with people in the world. But it's never for them to take creative, inspired action, letting love and intuition guide them. That could be like the danger zone as far as they're concerned, because they're stepping out of their comfort zone, maybe living more from their mind than their heart. And if their goal and objective is to have people view them a certain way and the world to view them a certain way, and that's the most important thing in their life, if other people start to heal and grow and mature themselves, and they're listening to their intuition and they're going to move forward in life differently, that's when people's shadowy nature can come out. And they can do hurtful and unkind things to make you focus back on them and not love and believe in yourself, or threaten to end the relationship with, just do these things instead of being loving and encouraging of you, kind of freeing yourself and becoming more authentically yourself and loving and believing in yourself. They do things purposely to try to get you to focus back on them and put an end to dealing with your own issues that would free you from moving forward. So it's kind of selfish. I like you to focus more on me, and I don't want to change. I'm happy with the way things are. We do have maybe a certain status or image that looks like we're victorious and successful, and I don't want to do that work within me, so I'm going to try to stop you from doing it within you. And eventually, the high vibe people in their life are sad. Why do you do these why aren't you loving and encouraging of me to grow to my full potential? Why are you doing these things that can be hurtful and unkind? It seems like, and shadowy energy can just be competitive. Some people are really competitive, and if they think they're a certain type of person that they view themselves as, like, I think I'm this just and fair and loving person. Well, then they get in a relationship with someone who's learned some more lessons in life than them, and they're authentically just and fair and loving. It's not an act they're putting on. It's not a show they're putting on. They really are that type of person. Their cup of love overflows. Well, then it can bother them because they viewed themselves as being that type of person. But now they're in or meeting people that seem to be the real deal, and it can get them in their competitive energy instead of looking at, well, why don't I be more like that? If I like that, and I thought I was like that, but then I meet people who are more free, more giving, more nurturing, more loving, well, why don't I do this work within myself to work through whatever issues manipulate me that stop me from being that type of person? But instead of doing that, it kind of gets them up in their ego, and some of those people and some of the people in their life are like, just get rid of that person. then we have nobody kind of illuminating the truth to us, and we can all go back to the illusion that we're these wonderful, just, fair, loving people, even though we might be kind of superficial and shallow and haven't healed, and the other people have. But if we get rid of them and make them go away, then we can go back to being in denial of the truth and happy and view ourselves the way we want to view ourselves, because we don't have anyone illuminating anything different. And so some of those people did do that. I want you to go. You're not the same person you used to be. You're more bold and brave and confident. You freed yourself from some things that still manipulate me. I thought you'd keep letting me indulge in a relationship with you, not being authentic and being in a more deep, meaningful relationship. And I don't want people to know that I had someone who did look at life from a higher perspective, who did work through pain and heartbreak, who was loving and nurturing and supportive, who loved and encouraged me, but I'm not willing to deal with some of my issues and past pain and heartbreak to move forward with them. So I let them go, and I figure I'll just go out in the world again wearing my false mask, trying to get someone else to be in a relationship with me. And I will hide that I'm living more from my mind than my heart, that I have these unresolved issues from my past that I haven't dealt with, and I'll try to maybe present myself as a picture-perfect person who's really operating from my competitive nature, my ego nature. And for some, maybe there was loving people in their life, but if they're very much about wanting to look like a shining star in the world, and they are more about those things, they could have let those people go, because there could have been someone else they thought they could manipulate, that it would look like they had the picture perfect life. I have those things, plus I have these things. I'll maybe present myself as being the loving person, maybe to someone who looks like their ship of dreams is coming into reality. They're going to have those things of the world that I want. So I'll go try to present myself as a high vibe person, maybe from the things I learned from the high vibe people I was in a relationship with, and create this illusion that that's who I am, to try to manipulate that person. But the thing is, some people wear very good false masks. People are very manipulative and deceptive. But the thing is, if other people listen to their intuition, that's something they can't control. And for them, that is the enemy in their life. If they are deceptive, manipulative people that have this certain way of living life that they want to live, or they're a narcissist, they need people to be caught up in the illusion of who they are, to not see the truth, to not be illuminated to the truth, to not see through the illusion. And when people do see the truth of who they are, you become their enemy. They have to try to make everybody believe that you're not who you are, because if they're not going to be an authentic, loving person in a relationship, the only thing they do have to work with is their ego and their image and their reputation. And they will do everything they can behind the scenes secretly, that maybe not everybody else knows about, to try to make you drive your life off into the ditch. I'll be hurtful. I'll be unkind. I'll lie about you. I'll spread rumors around you. I will do all these hurtful things that will confuse you so much. Oops, got an alarm on my phone. Because this person was someone who you thought would make good decisions in a relationship. You did look up to them and admire them. You did think they were someone that was on the same page as you. And so, yeah, it can be very devastating when people do that. And it's so mentally confusing of why people would do that. And that's when people have to do this work within themselves, to be inspired, to go with the flow, to do this work within themselves, to deal with the truth and get out of the being deceived about who they presented themselves as. Loving people act with love. Just and fair people act in a just and fair way. People with character and integrity act with character and integrity. And they didn't. And they are not. who you thought they were, and you were illuminated to the truth about what was hidden behind closed doors. And that's what gets you out of it. And some of those people could be mad because you were supposed to drive your life off into the ditch with them being hurtful and unkind like that. And then they could step up here and look like they were the victorious, loving person, and you were the shadowy person. But when you don't let other people can kick you to the curb and throw you under the bus, but if you're inspired to love yourself, and high vibe energy is about maintaining balance within yourself, and high vibe Leo is giving yourself the things that you wish other people would have given you, and maintain balance within yourself, letting love and intuition guide you versus pain and heartbreak and fear and insecurity, because you probably already learned some lessons about how that drove your life off into the ditch when you did that before with other people that could have been hurtful and unkind. And it's like, I'm not driving my life off into the ditch anymore because it's kind of like letting people who are negative energy then drive your life off into the ditch. Why would I let people who are unjust and unfair and unloving make me drive my life off into the ditch? I've been and known enough people. I just see the truth of who you are. I might have to take some time to work through it because I find it really confusing and hurtful and unkind, but I'm not going to drive my life off into the ditch. I'm going to keep maintaining my life and loving and believing in myself, offering love to the situation because love is the answer. And love helps you heal and helps you see through the illusion. And then those people are mad because you were supposed to drive your life off into the ditch, basically so they could present themselves as having your traits and characteristics, that you were the shadowy person, even though they were the shadowy person. And because you keep moving forward, bold and brave and loving yourself and being authentic and loving and letting love and intuition guide you, the manipulation didn't work. So as you're going through life, some people might think that you look like the more successful person now. If they're all about who looks more successful, who makes me look more like a shining star, well, now you look more like the shining star, Leo Sun energy. They might try to come back thinking you're still an illusion about who they are. And they don't realize, because when we're kind of in our worldly shadowy energy of ego or immaturity or self-centeredness or something, our judgment's kind of clouded. That's like shadowy Pisces energy. Our judgment is clouded. And what they don't realize is that you've already moved on, that you have seen the truth of who they are, but they could keep thinking that you're like them, that you just try to create an illusion that you've moved on, and that you really maybe have all these same fears and insecurities, or try to create an illusion like they do in the world. But they don't realize that you did this work within yourself. You've reconciled yourself with the past. You have learned who is the loving and encouraging people in your life, and who are the people who don't want you to love and believe in yourself and be authentically yourself in the world, and that you've moved on and you have connected in with your more emotionally intuitive nature to guide you, where before you had lessons learned and you were more naive and more gullible. But you're not, and that's why, we can be drawn and attracted to certain people, because we have lessons learned from them. And they can seem like they're on the same page as you, but eventually over time, you realize that they operate more from ego than love, and that they're not being authentic. And that's a significant difference. And so you learn that lesson, and now you're free to go on a new journey. And those people won't be able to go with you. And now they got to go try to find someone else to manipulate. And they probably have been trying to manipulate other people. And if they keep trying to manipulate people, well, if they're a narcissist, anybody they try to manipulate is more high vibrational than them. But if they're more shadowy or stubborn have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship, that they don't really have to be just and fair and authentic and loving. They'll just try to manipulate someone else. And for some of them, some of the new people they're in relationships with are doing this work within themselves, debating, should I stay in a relationship with this person? It does look good by worldly standards in a lot of ways, but I kind of feel this person isn't being truthful. And if they listen to their intuition, they'll work through their regrets about not staying in it and they will move on. But everybody's got some lessons learned. Some of them because they might have their own issues that they're dealing with. They might need to be in this relationship for a while, just like other people did, to work through some of those issues. Then they would offer love and encouragement to those people to move forward with them. And that's when they'll see the truth that they have this certain way of living life and they don't want to change. So, and that they really weren't on the same page. So, what's coming up? And the people in your life that are moving forward with you are people in Aries and Pisces and Leo energy that are bold and brave enough to be authentic in love and make good decisions in a relationship with you. So between your friends and your family, and if you've already gotten in a new relationship or getting in a new relationship, you know, you're listening to your intuition about the different people who want to be in a relationship with you and people that are currently in a relationship with you. Who is inspired to not operate from their more about me, indulge me, or being immature, and who are the people motivated and inspired by truth and love and authenticity and are on the same page as you. What's coming up for people who are in some high vibe Pisces energy that they might, oh goodness, that's way too many, that they might not see coming up? The Tower. And the reason is because of the Seven of Swords. So for some people that are still in the midst of it, there could be a major something that happens that clearly shows the truth of someone's foundation, you know? Or it's like the last time, I can't stay in denial of the truth anymore. The Tower is trying to illuminate the truth that people are not who they say they are. They do not have the same dream that you have. It could be either more, they're egotistical and more about being indulged in a relationship, or they're defensive, or they're more about ego and image. And something will either happen to show people that are in the midst of it the truth, because we can all want to stay in denial of the truth because we don't want to deal with the truth and illuminate the truth, because that means we'd have to end a relationship. And we won't end it until we're kind of have reconciled ourselves with it, that I am ready to move forward. And the Tower is the divine trying to show people, maybe over and over and over, you need to leave. This person does not have your best interest at heart. They might have their best interest at heart or something else. You know, we can align with people that don't have our best interests, or we can be in relationships with people who do. We have free will. And for other people that have already gotten out of it, you know, it's one thing to move away and do this work within yourself, but then it takes time to kind of emotionally detach and really see through the illusion. And some people are at that point where I no longer have illusions about who those people are. You know, every day that I keep moving forward in truth and love, and every day they keep repeating some old pattern, is another day it reinforces to me that we're not motivated and inspired by the same things, and we look at life differently, and they could be more about themselves in the world, and I want to be in deep, meaningful, loving relationships. And then as we move forward in life, we could be surprised also if there's people that we communicate with The fire sign energy is about communicating with people. And if there's people that we meet or people we communicate with, and we tell them the lessons we've kind of learned and how we're moving forward, there might be like conversation or whatever going on to try to get to the truth. And we'll see the truth of who really is on the same page as us and who isn't. And we might be kind of surprised that some of the people who we thought were on the same page as us and we're going to keep moving forward with us aren't. And we might be surprised at some of the people that are going to keep moving forward with us or start moving forward with us and who won't. But because high vibe people listen to their intuition, people who did try to throw your life off into the ditch could also be shocked that you keep listening to your intuition and you keep persevering and you keep not aligning with your own fearful, insecure, and shadowy people. You keep blowing up that foundation because you keep letting your intuition. People can keep trying to do things and you keep just plowing through it. Give it your best shot. I don't care because I'm bold and brave enough to, in love, and I know the truth. And I'm going to keep moving forward, letting love and intuition guide me. And people in the world can do what they want to do. And I will keep not getting up in my head about it, not being deceived by it. The people who are motivated and inspired to move forward with me in this way are people who are moving forward with me in love and being authentic. And the people who aren't doing that are the people I'm letting go of because apparently we're not on the same page. Okay, what's coming up for the people who harness a more shadowy? And some people could be shocked because they know you had a dream you wanted to bring into reality, or that you love them, or you wanted to be friends with them forever. It's like, I did, but it takes two. And if you're not willing to do that, then I am willing to let go of you. Because I'm not going to be in relationships with people who are being bossy or controlling or manipulative or hurtful or unkind. I wish you peace. I'm moving on. And some of those people are shocked. What's coming up for the people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Pisces energy that they might not see coming up? The Chariot, because of the Judgment card. The Chariot is Cancer energy about love and home and family and self-love, and it's having the dualistic nature, knowing we have a dualistic nature. The Aries energy is the one who gets in the driver's seat. We have to be motivated and inspired to take charge of our life and make good decisions in our life in an emotionally balanced way, because love is supposed to be just and fair. Is there people in our life we love? Yeah, and you're not being just and fair. So I wish you peace, and I'm keeping my distance from you. You know, my nature of truth and love dominates over my more codependent nature, where I'd like to kind of indulge you in your poor behavior. And I'm not going to, because love is supposed to be just and fair, and you're not acting in a just and fair way. So out of love for myself and love for you, I'm not going to keep indulging you in your poor behavior. If you want to keep being indulged in your poor behavior, go find someone else. Otherwise, grow up, deal with some of your past pain and heartbreak, or your fears or your insecurities, or your shadowy ways of being, and see through the illusion and get over yourself. But if not, I'm going to move on. Why? Because people have to be held accountable for their actions, and I have to hold myself accountable. If I have a dream I want to come into reality, do I love and believe in myself enough to not let my shadow, my more immature, prideful, egotistical, lustful, greedy nature run my life? If that's not how I want to live my life and be in relationships with other people who live their life that way, then I need to quit. I need to get out of the illusion and being caught up in these things of the world. And I need to be inspired by love. And sometimes we can be in relationships with people, and people can be kind of shadowy and hurtful and unkind. And what they don't see coming is eventually people are going to leave. and called judgment on them. And that could always be a shock to them. I can't believe they love themselves enough to maybe give up these things or just being in a relationship to love and believe in themselves, to not let me keep manipulating them or controlling them or whatever. So it could have been that the relationship was more in shadowy chariot energy, which can be more about things looking victorious and successful in the world. But if one person's really operating from high vibe Cancer energy, from love, and the other person is kind of creating an illusion of love, but they use their emotions manipulatively and it is more to look like victorious and successful in the world, but it's not authentically love, people call judgment on it. And with some of these people, like I say, if they're not authentically motivated and inspired by love, they should quit trying to manipulate people who are. But, regardless of how shadowy we are or immature or whatever, we like to be in relationships with people who are loving and nurturing and kind and giving and all those good things. And we maybe don't really like to be in relationships with people who are on the same page as us. But I think that's what's going to happen. Because loving people call judgment on them. And there's going to be other people who want to be in a relationship with them. Because, again, the chariot can represent, and by worldly standards, things look good. There's going to be other people who want to get in a relationship with them. And they might end up having to be in a relationship with someone who's like them, which is just and fair. If you're not about love and growing and healing and maturing yourself, you should be in relationships with other people who don't want to do love and don't want to heal and grow and mature themselves. And if they are kind of trying to hide the fact that they are more ego-based, self-based, materialistic, indulgence-based, what they don't realize is because they could think how they can fool all these people. If I just wear this false mask, people won't know the truth of who I really am. But because they don't move forward with let go and don't put in work and effort with authentic loving people, they end up getting in relationships with people and tempted by people more about the ego or the image, or that will indulge them in their ego or have the status or image that they want. Eventually people see through the illusion of who they are. And some people just thought they were so smart, I can just present myself as being a certain type of person. And regardless of who I get in a relationship with, what kind of person they are, I think people will still view me as like this loving person. And I think they're in for a rude awakening, because eventually people see through the illusion. If you were a loving person, you would have moved forward with creative, inspired, authentic, loving people, and you would have gotten out of your ego or self-centered nature or being so consumed with looking victorious in the world. But you let go of those people to go get in a relationship maybe with someone who looks victorious and successful in the world but isn't loving or emotionally mature. It's kind of obvious why you got in that relationship. So there you go, Pisces energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.